run to put it under 20. Let's talk about the game of the night thus far. The Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James tips it in at the buzzer, stuns the Indiana Pacers here for Los Angeles to
little
get the win.
game of just the tip. That's how it is.
Miles Turner on the bench, though. Your center is on the bench.
And yet, was able to get it to go. And with that, LeBron James, Richard. With that, LeBron James now has 8 game winners, buzzer beaters of his career. He trails
ISO Joe.
You better tell him about Joe. You better tell him.
ISO Joe. He was different.
He is tied with that tip in. We were all watching that game together. What stood out to you down the stretch here, Perk?
Well, I just think the trust that they have in the others, right? Like Rui Hachimura, 2 big 3-point shots.
Yep.
Austin Reeves still been able to thrive playing alongside LeBron and Luka. Again, he is going to be the key if they're going to make a deep run in the playoffs. And again, LeBron James, he talked about it after the game. What greats do. It may not be my night to go out there and get 25 or 30.
Yeah.
But I'm so good that I could impact the game in so many ways. Like go and get a tip in for the game winner, attacking the offensive glass.
You listening, Rick Pitino? Are you listening, Rick Pitino? You don't have your best player on the bench and send messages. You put him in a position to do something even if it's late. But I want to talk about their defense. That's what they had been hanging their hat on. Yeah, they have great offensive players. They have amazing offensive talent, but they've been hanging their hat on their defense really since the first of the year. But there's just certain plays that you look at late game that they need better. Watch this. When Perk said it, blow-bys. That's an absolute blow-by for Luka. We're not questioning his greatness. We're questioning his defense. Again, that one was a foul. There was a play on the left wing. There was a play on the left wing that was even more egregious before that, the second one. And I say that to say is that that's going to be the next step. If they're truly going to make it run, it won't be Luka going 30, 10, and 10. It will be because his defense stepped up.
And the reason I'm so hard on Luka is because when you look at the other young superstars, Tatum, Anthony Edwards, all those guys take pride in sliding those puppies. Now, I know they're more athletic than Luka, but damn, just the effort.
Jokic.
The Lakers snap a 3.
I say it all the time. I'm going to say it again. LeBron bleepin' James is the most interesting man in the history of sports. Every game he plays has some incredible narrative, some better than fiction narrative that I can't make up. Tonight was the all-time LeBron James Memorial Most Interesting Man in the History of the World game. LeBron just made a walk-off buzzer-beating shot. And it was simply the luckiest buzzer beater in the history of the world. Nobody ever, I've been doing this a long time. Nobody has ever had a luckier, easier walk-off buzzer beater than LeBron just had at Indiana in a game that, I'll quote J.J. Redick, just watched his press conference post-game. He said, it feels like we won the game 3 times and we lost the game 3 times. I couldn't say it better, except I'm gonna up the numbers. It felt like the Lakers won it 12 times and lost it 12 times. Third to fourth quarter, the Lakers gave up a 17-2 run. That's how bad it was. The Lakers should have blown out the Pacers. They had them dead to rights. They had them way over an empty barrel at Indy. And all of a sudden, the game turns into the Indy 500. And it comes down to, this is just lunacy, but it's vintage LeBron. It comes down to the fact that LeBron James, through 3 quarters, hadn't scored a bucket. 0 buckets, 0 field goals made by LeBron James. Wound up 0 for 3 from 3. He wound up 4 of 12 from the field. But he had 3 points and 0 field goals through 3 quarters. That has never happened in the history of his career. 22 years worth of LeBron James at age 40, and this had never, ever happened in any NBA game he'd ever played. He'd always had field goals before the 3rd quarter. No field goals tonight. Think about that. None. And he goes on a flurry, as I predicted he would on X. They ISO'd him a couple times. He just got serious a couple times. Nobody can keep him from the rim. Finally made a jumper on an ISO play and finally got a little flow going. And all of a sudden, he'd scored 8 points, and all of a sudden, he went over the fated 10-plus because he had the all-time record for scoring at least 10 or more points in consecutive games. And he did it again tonight. Cost a bunch of people a lot of money. I'm sure they were on their knees praying against him tonight because there are those bets out there where you could make a fortune betting against his 10-plus. And it looked like he was in some jeopardy, but I said, no, it is LeBron James. He is the greatest scorer ever. It is the Indiana Pacers. I mean, they're good, but they're not great on defense. And he's still a man among children. He can play bully ball, even though he's a benign bully. Nicest guy in the world, too nice for my taste. No Jordan there. And yet he goes on this flurry, which didn't seem like that big a deal. And I'm thinking he's going to wind up with, I said 12, 13. I think I tweeted 11 or 12 points. Well, it looked like 11 was going to stand, right? So then somehow Indiana gets back in the game. And then all of a sudden, guess who? Rui Hachimura, who'd been out about as long as LeBron was out with his quote-unquote pulled groin. He was just resting up for the playoff stretch and run. But Rui came back with LeBron 2 games ago, looked a little rusty, couldn't get in sync, couldn't get in rhythm. And all of a sudden tonight, Rui, of all people, in the 2 biggest moments of the game, hits 2 huge threes. 2:23 left, he hits a 3 that puts him up 5. And I think, okay, that's it. Indiana's shot right in the heart. And he turns right around at 151 and hits another 3 to take the heart and the sound out of the home crowd. That's Caitlin Clark's building. She was there watching. She wanted to see Luka. She wanted to see LeBron. I'm sure she loves her Pacers and her Halliburton, but those two, I'd want to go watch them too because we've never seen 2 greater passers as a duo, dynamic passing duo. We never seen anything like it ever. And they were both pretty good on offense tonight. But LeBron obviously spent a lot of his energy on the defensive end because they needed to lock down because they'd given up 146 on Saturday night at home to Chicago and turned right around and lost, just got blown out in the 4th quarter at Orlando. So this was kind of a big deal tonight. Wouldn't have been the end of the world, but kind of a big deal to just feel a little better about who you are and what you can do in the Western Conference, because you're looking way up on the top of the mountain at my Oklahoma City Thunder, who are having simply the greatest year in the history of the National Basketball Association. If you want to give yourself some hope against those guys, if you do have to deal with them in the postseason, you better start now. You better start tonight. And there was a new commitment on the defensive end until the bitter end, when all of a sudden they go up 6, and I don't know what possessed them. It's like, are we there yet? You know the movie. Cube, shout out. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Is that it? Are you guys going to quit now? No, they're not going to quit because all of a sudden Nembhard slithers through and just gets a wide open layup. They're up 6, and all of a sudden you're up 4. And then all of a sudden Halliburton just slithers through a double team, and the Lakers just olay him, just let him go to the basket and lay it in right-handed off the glass. And I'm thinking, uh-oh. And then there's a terrible possession in which Luka drives to the basket. Help me out. Laker Nation, am I lying? I'm dying if I'm lying. Luka drives to the basket. I think he just got one guy to beat, and it's free throws at the very worst. And usually he just does some wizardry and makes the guy look like a fool. And at the last second, he's right at the rim and looks like he's got the advantage at the rim. He is 6 feet 7 inches tall and weighs like 250 pounds. And he can freight train